Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm your English teacher Zia. I hope that you're doing well. You're ready and set for today's video lesson. If you remember, my dear students, what we did in the last lecture, first let me welcome you to English 11. Please move this forward. All right. So English grade 11, we are on our unit number 2 and this is our lecture 3. Now, we are focused on reading and critical thinking, and my dear learners, as you know that this competency is related to reading, your understanding and your overall comprehension when you are reading something. So when we are reading any kind of text, whether it's fiction or non-fiction, or whether we are reading for any different purposes, we need to be very much clear about the whole understanding. And now let's talk about some reading strategies. First, let's read our students' learning outcome over here. It says, use pre-reading and while reading strategies to analyze and explore different layers of meaning within text, including biases and opinions. First thing first, let's talk about the first thing that we are supposed to do. It is reading strategies, and in that we will see the pre-reading and while reading strategies for reading any text in a better way. Now, why do we do this? We do these strategies to analyze and explore different layers of meaning. It means that words have different layers. There are levels and layers after layers of different meanings that we need to decode as a reader within text. And we will also explore and expose the biases and opinions that we face in different reading, different texts that we are reading and different materials. So first we will learn about the strategies of pre-reading and while reading, and then we will talk about the different layers of meaning, and we will also be talking about some important concepts like biases, facts and opinions. They're very important when we are reading something so that we can recognize it and absorb and get the right information free of any kind of biases and free of any kind of prejudices. We will talk about these terms. Students, here you can see a vertical linkage. So till now, if you have any kind of question, you can ask straight away. Let's move on. Let's talk about our brainstorming session for today. Now, what is your way of reading any book for different purposes? Dear students, you know we read for different purposes. It may be for entertainment, to get persuaded by different advertisements, or for getting information. And there are a lot of different purposes of reading. So when you are reading something, let's say you are reading a novel for entertainment or for catharsis, you're reading some articles for information. What do? How do you increase your comprehension? This is the question that we need to be answering. So think about it, ponder upon it so that we can move forward. Yes, we read the text, we ask ourselves different questions, we try to answer those questions, we try to respond to the text of the lesson. That's how we read. So you can come up with your answers. If you're watching on YouTube, then you can type in the comment box below and let me aware of your response and feedback, which is very much important. So students who've joined online, can you tell me about your ways of reading any book for different purposes? Yes. Okay, there's a good comment in the chat box. We read for passing time. Right, that's true. We read for passing time, which means we read for entertainment, and we read with total understandings. Sometimes we read using different resource materials in front of us if we are not aware of any meaning. We Google the different kind of unknown terminologies, unknown words and personalities. That's how we increase our reading comprehension when we are reading for different purposes. There are a lot of different strategies. Let's talk about it. These are your reading strategies. Strategies are your techniques, your tricks to get into the reading and get into the text properly. Now, let's talk about the first one, pre-reading. Pre means before we read. Before we read anything, my dear learners, we actually do some brainstorming. It refers to all the actions a reader must complete before reading as part of a strategy to engage with the text on a deeper level during the actual reading session. So pre-reading techniques and strategies are things that we are supposed to do before we read something. Before reading, okay, pre-reading. Now, pre-reading gives you the chance to take a look at the big picture before going into more detail. Now, you can talk about it. You can use the pre-reading strategies by looking at the title, looking at some prerequisites, some questions, some pictures, or you can actually think about it before you read. Now, when you are reading with this kind of mindset, with all the pre-reading strategies intact, and you're applying those strategies on the text before you read it, you're making up your mind and you're asking questions to yourself that what can I learn from this? What kind of text is it? What genre am I reading? What kind of who is the author? Is it credible? And all those things that you need to keep in mind before you read a text. These are your pre-reading strategies. Now you have not read the text yet, but you are ready and prepared like a warrior, like a soldier, to dive into the text itself. So you need to do this preparation. This pre-reading is very much important before diving into any fiction or non-fiction. So keep this in mind. Now, let's talk about while reading. While means during the reading. While you're reading a text, you need to do some strategies and some preparations. Let's see what they are. They are techniques used by readers as they interact with the text. They are interacting with the text and they are doing some things. These strategies are employed during the reading process as opposed to before or after. Now this is done during. Now what can you do while you are reading any kind of text? You can stop reading and then think about any topic or think about any question that is coming in your mind and then find answer of that question while you're reading the text. All the text that you have read before it, now go through that again while you're reading it and find your answers. Or you can, what else can you do? You can find your resource materials, your encyclopedia, your dictionaries, thesauruses, and just when you're reading it, refer to those resource materials, those reference books. So in this way, you can apply these while reading strategies and you get very much interested and engaged in the text. So there are a lot of different strategies. You can come up with yours. You can type in the comment box and let me know about your strategies and your techniques of reading any kind of text, whether it's a short story, a novel, an article, whether it's any lesson in your textbook, in your course, or out of the course as well. Because as a student, you need to be learning and reading more. And as an English language learner, you need to read a lot of English text. So this is very important. Now, let's talk about these three things that are in front of you. These are your facts, opinions, and bias. So when we are reading something, let's say we are reading a news report or any column, any piece. Now, there may be some facts, there may be some opinions and some biases by the writer of that text. So we need to recognize these three things in a text so that we can critically analyze the text. Now, students, I want your attention. You have to be very much prepared for this. Let's talk about facts first. Now, what's a fact? Fact is based on reality, on real life. So something that is true, that cannot be denied. It is scientifically proven, and the whole humanity, all the people are is accepting it as truth. Now, these are statements that can be verified. It means you can verify that statement, that claim, or that sentence. Now, they can be proven true or false. Statements or facts are objective. They contain information but do not tell what the writer thinks or believes about the topic. Now, if the writer of the text is quoting facts, he is quoting facts about different topics. Now, we know that he is not involving himself or herself in the text with his or her own opinions or biases. He or she is just quoting the facts. So we can say that this text is fact based. There's no opinion or bias when we are reading this kind of text. For example, my car payment is $250 per month. Now, this is a fact. You can verify it and you can see that it's true or not. Now, so let's revise it. What are facts? Facts are universally known things. They are facts, they are true, and they can be proven either it's wrong or right using scientific methods and research. Let's talk about opinions. What are opinions, students? What do you think about this word? All right. Now, opinions are basically also, they are statements that express a writer's feelings, attitudes, or beliefs. All right. These statements tell us that the writer of the text, the feelings, attitudes, or beliefs are expressed. So all these combined beliefs, attitudes, and feelings, they are opinion of the writer. They are neither true nor false. It means that you cannot deny it, you cannot accept it as a truth, because this is an individual's statement and expression. They are one person's view about a topic or issue. So a person's view about any topic or any issue that he or she holds, so that would be that opinion of that person. So when writers are writing about some incidents or some events, they are actually, if they are expressing their ideas by saying that I believe, or in my thinking, in my opinion, we can say that these are just opinions of the writer. You cannot prove it scientifically right or wrong. You can disagree with it. All right. So, and every person is entitled to their own opinions. Every individual, every human being have different kind of opinions about different things or same things. So we just learn, we should learn to, we should agree to disagree. This is what we say, agree to disagree. Now, let's see. Here are some examples. Chocolate ice cream is the best flavor. This may be the writer's own choice, because there can be someone else who doesn't like the chocolate flavor, the chocolate ice cream. The new movie was terrible. Everyone should recycle. Now these are just your opinions, and they can vary from person to person. They are very much subjective. Now, I believe that renewable energy sources are the future of sustainable energy. Now, again, how can you recognize that this is, whether it's a fact, a bias, or an opinion? Yes, students. Yes, Lukman. Is it a bias, fact, or opinion? No, it's not bias. Try again. I believe that renewable energy sources are the future of sustainable energy. This is an opinion. How? Because it says, I believe. You can believe something else. You can believe that uh, some other kind of energy, some other form is the future of this is sustainable energy. So this is an opinion. That's really good. Okay. So what's a bias? We have talked about facts. Facts are statements that can be proven right or wrong. They can be judged scientifically with research, and they have a solid evidence and reference. But opinions are varying from person to person about the same things or different things, and every person has different opinion, and you can recognize it using the words I believe, in my opinion, what I think, or in my understanding. So these are your opinions. So now let's talk about bias. So when we are reading any text, for example, we are reading a news story, an article, a column, let's say of different newspapers, international newspapers. Now, there can be some biases because the writer can have prejudice about different groups, different races, different religions, and so many more things. Now let's see what a bias is. How can you define it? A bias is a prejudice. Prejudice means if you are already judging somebody or something prior to the whole understanding and knowing them. So that would be your prejudice. You are judging too quickly and too early. That's what we call prejudice. You hold grudge or prejudice against somebody because of their color, their race, religion, community, their whole culture, etc. Now, a prejudice against something an author is writing about. Now, bias is a prejudice against something an author is writing about, favoritism for something an author is writing about. This is prejudice is favoritism. An author letting feelings or emotions could his or her objectivity with regard to something he or she is writing about. So the feelings and emotions, my dear learners, and these are also attached with any writer. And if a writer is writing in with this prejudice and biases, we can say that the whole text that we are reading is full of bias, and we can easily recognize the biases, the different kind of biases, and we can say that what kind of bias is there which makes the text incorrect and totally biased. So we can easily recognize this, and this is the purpose of our today's video lesson, that when we are reading something, any kind of text, we can easily recognize which one is a fact, which part, which sentence is containing an opinion, and which passage or which idea is based on a bias of the writer towards something or someone. This is the purpose. Now, let's see. Here is an example with the possible biases mentioned in the brackets, in the parentheses. Let's read it. When I met with Mayor Giovali, I noticed that he had the appearance of a hobo, a loaded negatively charged word. Now this word is telling us that the writer here, the writer who's writing in the first person narration, the writer is actually having bias against Mayor Giovali, right? Because the writer is calling Mayor Giovali a hobo, which is a negative word. It's a negative word. So by using this word, by identifying this word, we can say that the writer is already having some prejudice about the person he is writing about. Next, he was unshaved and wearing dirty clothes. Now, in this sentence, do you think that this is a fact? Do you think this is a fact? No. Do you think this is an opinion? It's a bias? Yes, it's a bias. Very good, Lukman. Now, this is also a bias because He's saying he was unshaved and wearing dirty clothes. This means that one-sided. Notice that the author doesn't tell us why the mayor was dressed this way. So he's just presenting half of the picture and he is commenting on the appearance negatively about Mayor Giovali. Now we can say that this is also a statement full of bias and hatred and prejudice. Now, there can be a good reason for that condition or appearance of Mayor Giovali, but we are not being aware of this, and the writer is hiding this reason. It means this is a prejudice. He spoke to me about his horrible plan to fix our city's roads. Now, the word, this whole language in this sentence, my dear learners, read it. What can you see? It's a vague language. It means the word horrible plan. Before telling us the plan, he's calling it horrible. So this means that it shows prejudice. This is also a prejudice and a bias. Anyone who knows the plan will tell you that it will bankrupt our city. Again, bankruptcy is a negative word. This is a prejudice. He is making an assumption before the results. Is this a fact or opinion? Now, anyone who knows the plan will tell you that it will bankrupt our city. This is an opinion, right? It's not a fact. The author offers no supporting evidence for the possibility of a bankruptcy. The plan to fix our roads mostly benefits friends of the mayor. He plans to pay his buddies in the construction business thousands of dollars over the next 2 years. I do not want to insult anyone, but the mayor is of Italian descent and we all know what reputation they have in this part of the country. Again, you can see that he has a prejudice about Italians, about a race, about a nationalism, about a nation. He's having prejudice. He's saying that we already know what they are. Need I remind you of Al Capone and other Italian mafia members? This clearly states a stereotypical. Now, he's quoting gangsters. He hates the Italians. That's why he's making an assumption that Mayor Giovali will not produce good results. Now, you can see that this is a very good example of bias in the writing. If you are coming across this kind of text and you're reading it, now you can easily spot that the writer is having any bias towards a particular person, community or group or not. As we can see here, clearly the writer is describing the Mayor Giovali with lot of different biases. He has biased about Italians. He's comparing Mayor Giovali with other gangsters and mafias, and he is actually he's not quoting any facts, rather he is just quoting opinions and showing his biasness. Now, in this way, you can easily recognize any kind of text, whether it's holding any facts, opinions, or biases. Now, the report blames most crime in the town on teenagers without any evidence. So, what do we do when we have not any kind of evidence, as the writer is prejudiced against young people? In this situation, the writer is prejudiced. It means that the text, the report here is having biasness. My aunt is biased towards dogs that are black like her own, and she's always more friendly to them than to other dogs. Now, this word, bias means aunt is holding grudge. She's already having a prejudice about, a hatred about a particular thing. That's why we can say that this is also a biasness. Let's talk about layers of meanings. We know that when we are reading a text, there are different layers of meanings. There are connotative meaning and denotative meaning. So when you read certain texts, it becomes clear that there are meaning there that seem to lie deeper than on the surface. So there are two kinds of meanings. One which is on the surface, it is very much clear, and second is deeper. We will call it number 2. So we need to recognize different layers. These occur are when the writer has used language that develops imagery or connotations. Now, connotation is a very important word. It's a kind of a meaning. We will talk about it. So, what do we learn from this, students? Words have different meanings, different layers of meanings, and we need to recognize those layers for a better understanding. Let's talk about connotation or connotative meaning of any word. Now, connotative or connotation is the underlying feeling or emotion that is associated with a word. The connotation can vary depending on the context and the speaker. Connotation means it depends on some other factors. The meaning has different cultural meanings. The word can have different cultural meanings, and you cannot take the words denotative or literary dictionary meaning. It means that connotations are the feelings and emotions that we associate with words, and this creates a layer of meaning, and we need to decode that meaning. Let's see. What is denotation? Denotation is the idea of taking the word literally. The definition of denotation is the literal or dictionary definition of a word. So there are two meanings of a word, my dear learners. One is the connotative meaning, which is we can understand it through emotions and feelings and associations and culture, and denotative meaning of any word will be the literal dictionary meaning. So one word can have different meanings, one connotative and other denotative, right? So you need to keep this in mind. A word can have multiple denotative meanings depending on context. Let's see. Let's illustrate the difference with a simple example. Here we have an example. We have the word home. Ghar in Urdu refers to the place where you live. Home is a place where you live. It could be a house, an apartment, etc. A home can be anything that you can call home, where you go and live and sleep and eat. So that would be your home. But this is the word's denotation. For many people, the word home has a positive connotation. It is associated with safety. It is associated with safety. It is associated with comfort and sense of belonging. So first we saw the definition of home, which is any place, any room, any apartment, any kind of floor that you're living on, that would be your home. You call it home. But for some people, in other meanings, the home word is associated with comfort, with safety, protection. So one has a different meaning. Home means a house, and here home means safety and a sense of protection. So one word can have a denotative meaning, which means any apartment, any room, and connotative meaning, which means safety and protection and comfort. So now, students, I need your attention over here. I want you to be very much attentive for this very short activity. Lukman, you need to be very much attentive for this. So now answer the following questions in the order as they appear. Here is a sentence. Look, I can do it blindfolded. What do you mean by this? ये देखो, ये तो मैं आंखें बंद करके भी कर सकता हूं. What do you mean? It means that it is very easy. Easy. I can do it blindfolded. It means that the writer or the speaker is saying that it's very easy. It's a piece of cake. I can do it blindfolded. It's so easy, and I have practiced it a lot that even if you tie a blindfold around my eyes, I can still do it, right? No. Now, let's see. We will read these following passages and we will recognize biases and opinions. So students, bear with me. Read the sentences with me by pausing the video. If you're watching on YouTube, students who are present over here, read after me. Okay, passage number 1 is, the movie was absolutely fantastic with brilliant performances by the actors. It's a must see for anyone who appreciates quality cinema. Now, look, is this a bias or an opinion? What do you think? Is it a fact? No, this is not a fact. It is an opinion about something. This is an opinion about a movie that you like, or maybe somebody else cannot like it, or there may be some any other reason. So, next one. Next passage is, the research study concludes that the new drug is effective in treating the condition. However, some critics argue that the study design was flawed and may not provide a complete picture of the drug's safety. Now, this is about a drug that is being tested newly. Do you think it's a fact, bias, or opinion? Yes, that's very good. This is a fact because it can be scientifically, with research, this can be proven either right or wrong. It does not have any kind of bias. It does not have any kind of opinion. So this is a total factual based sentence. Now, next one. Politician A is the most honest and trustworthy leader we've ever had. Any politician, I mean, we are not naming anyone. Politician B, on the other hand, can't be trusted. Their track record is full of deceit and corruption. What do you think about this? Is it a fact? Is the writer quoting a fact, an opinion, or just a bias? This can be an opinion. This can be also it can be opinion mostly. This can also be a bias towards the politician B, because if this thing is not proven, that would be just your opinion. In order to make it fact, this should be actually and globally proven. Call it those words. Now, climate change is a pressing global issue that requires immediate action, and deniers of climate change, however, continue to spread misinformation and ignore the overwhelming scientific consensus. Now, is it a fact, biased, or opinion? This is a fact because it can be actually tested, and the writer is presenting both sides of the coin. He's presenting both the sides without being biased, without having favoritism or prejudice. So the purpose of doing these drills with those different passages was to let you know that you can easily, by understanding the terms of facts, opinions, and biases, whenever you're reading any kind of text, you can easily spot the difference between these three, and you can increase your comprehension level. At the end, students, thank you for listening. This is a worksheet for you that is attached in the resources. What you're supposed to do is, before you read, you'll answer these questions and take any text that you want. It could be an essay, an article, a column. Do this before you read that, and when you're reading this, you are actually going to answer those questions that are mentioned over here, and this will be your while reading strategies. Pre-reading strategy and while reading strategy. While you're reading the text, any text of your choice, you can take it and then fill this worksheet accordingly. Now, you'll have this worksheet, this PowerPoint presentation in your resources. If you're watching on YouTube channel of Chase's Academy, you can watch it and you can get those resources in the description of the video. Thank you so much for listening. Before we leave, I need you to confirm that it is delivered, and do you guys have any kind of question? Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you in the next video lesson, students. Take care of yourselves, and Allah.